Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
No limit to the limit. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp. No limit to the limit with Robert and Vicky Bell. I thought I told you. No limit to the limit, for better or for worse. No limit to the limit, for richer or poor. No limit to the limit in sickness and health. I thought I told you to love and cherish until death do you part. 1 + 1 =
1.
2 is bigger, but it's
Still 1.
1 1,000, but 2
10,000.
Team Bell, Rob and Vicky Bell, Hot 702.5.
We out. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp with Vicky and Robert Bell on Hot 702.5 FM, Risky Radio. Hey. Hi, everybody. My name is Vicky Bell, and I'm one of the co-hosts here at Marriage Bootcamp / Marriage Warfare, and we would like to welcome you to today's podcast. This platform was created to support those who are striving for a marriage mindset, a foundation for building, strengthening, and thriving in your relationship. As two divorcees, we wanted to do marriage right this time around. We understand the challenges and rewards for committing to this journey. Back when we were married, podcasts and social media weren't available, just books, occasional marriage conferences, but right now you have resources in the palm of your hand. Now we're here to share our experiences, lessons, and insights to help you navigate with intention and resilience and love. Whether you're just starting out or rebuilding or simply looking to grow, welcome to this place where transformation begins. Let's do this together. I'd like to introduce my amazing co-host, my husband of 28 years, Robert Bell.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp with the Bells here at Hot 702.5 Risky Radio. This March 22nd, 2025, already Lady Bell.
I know.
January, February, March is here. We're marching through this year. Are you ready? It's been a lot going on, Lady Bell. It's been a lot going on.
Yes, it has.
I told you my mind is all over the place. I know you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm trying to categorize stuff. I'm trying to figure out what I want to talk about and what I don't want to talk about, Lady Bell. So right now, I'm trying to wind down this mind of mine.
For our listening audience, we do take notes and we prepare, and then it goes sideways. So it's not like we're totally not prepared, but it just always goes left.
Always prepared, Lady Bell. We got it. You know what Aunt Avon used to always say? I can't think of it right now, but you know, my auntie told me you got to always stay prepared.
She said prior planning prevents poor performance.
Prior planning prevent poor performance. She always say you got to, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Pretty much that's what she was saying, huh? Mm-hmm. Lady Bell, Marriage Bootcamp here with the Bells, Lady Bell. Let me do a little bit of recall and review because I had a whole lot of conversations this week, Lady Bell. You know, like I said, my buddy was in town, and you know, him being a prior insurance man, had his own insurance company for over 40 years. Now he's retired, and he said, Rob, if you don't do anything else, please keep telling these young families, if you don't do anything else, get you a life insurance policy. Yeah. Now, I got not an insurance man, not an insurance salesman, ain't got no insurance business. She ain't got no insurance business, but I've been insured since I was 19 years old, had the same insurance man for over 30 years until we relocated here in Las Vegas, Lady Bell. Had the same insurance man all those years.
Yeah.
my mom and them had, back then when my mama and daddy had insurance, everybody knew the insurance man. The little white man came walking down the street. Did I hear you ever say the little white man came walking down the street in our black neighborhood, going door to door, either selling burial. I think they paid whatever they paid, like a prepaid burial. Pretty much they just had enough coverage to pay for their services. He would come to our house, collect money from my mom and daddy, then go right across the street to my grandmama's house and get her insurance money. Then he made his way up and down our neighborhood. Even on, back in Oakwood Village, we called it the other side. Oakwood Village had two sides.
Yeah.
The side we live on and the other side. On the other side of the bridge. Then he would go over to the other side and make his way through the neighborhood selling insurance policies. So I always had insurance policy since I was 19 years old. Why did I get an insurance policy? Why did I get a life insurance policy at 19? Lady Bell, because I got married at 19. And my insurance man said, Rob, you married now? You don't just need a car insurance. You don't just need car insurance. You don't just, we was renting. You don't just need rentals insurance for your apartment now. Now you need a life insurance policy. Why? You mean in case I die and I need to burial? For that, in case, don't you want to leave your wife comfortable? Don't you want her to have some money? See, my mom and them wasn't taught that. They was just taught, get you some insurance so your family can bury you.
But when we know better, we can do better.
When you know better, you can do better. So that's why I'm trying to, I wish they would have told me that. My mom and them just, make sure you got some money to bury you. And push come to shove, at that plan they really had wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't enough, because even when my mama died, my daddy died, and my grandmother died, it was some things that was not covered.
Yeah.
What was that with, what did they call that? Help me, when they, remember we was on the way to the we're talking about when Beat Mom passed. We right before on our way before we was going to the services, we got a call from the cemetery that said, before y'all bring the body here, we're gonna need another $685 for the closing.
The closing.
Lowering the casket down and closing the grave site. That wasn't in her policy. That was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Yeah, Beat Mom passed about 25 years ago. Okay. That was 25 years ago. I think it was $685 that we're gonna know what that funeral, know what that grave site said. The cemetery said, don't bring the body unless you got $685.
Yep.
They called us that morning. Don't bring the body unless you got $685. That's why it's important now to have a life insurance policy. Just in case, Lady Bell, you got to have a life insurance policy.
And not just a life insurance policy. What Robert is trying to drive the point home is that you have to have enough to bury you, but you also have to have enough to sustain your family for a little bit so that they can grieve properly, so that they can get on their feet, so they can fill that gap, that void that you're leaving as you pass on. So, a $10,000 policy, I'm gonna just be honest with you, that's not gonna be enough. That's not enough. That's not what we're talking about. What I want to challenge each and every couple to do right now, at some point, look at, if you own a mortgage, look how much you owe on your house. Look at your monthly bills, and then go from there and decide what you need to have to fill the gap in the case of your demise. If you die, what is going to be needed to fill the gap? Husband, if that's you. Wife, if that's you, because it's two people working nowadays, and it takes two incomes a lot of times to maintain a household. So you're going to have those candid conversations, because as Robert said one time, it's like you're hugging them from the grave. You're being loved from the grave. So, you don't have to make any hasty decisions, any terrible decisions, any decisions that you'll regret because you're grieving, because you have that financial support there. So that's a serious conversation. And I think you should have that before, I know this next generation, I know y'all like to ball out and brunch out and all like that, but this is something you really, really, really have to do. It's a necessity. It's something that's major. It's a number one priority.
And as we're getting older, you think because you're getting older, you figure you need these things.
No.
But after being married 28 years, Lady Bell, and we don't pretty much seen a lot of stuff. I ain't gonna say we've seen everything, but we've seen a lot of stuff. We have seen families lose their breadwinner.
Not just the breadwinner, honey, but remember, we've had people that have lost their children.
But the point I'm making about the breadwinner, we have seen family lose the breadwinner, be it the father. Yeah. We have seen family in church.
Yeah.
In church. Hey, I'm going to say it, and I hope I say it loud and clear. Your church ain't going to do nothing for you. Your pastor ain't going to do nothing for you. After the services, after prayer, after he lay hands on you, he going to say, we're trusting and believing God will help you through this. If you need anything, call the church. That's what we don't see it year after year, Vicky. Call the church if you need anything. And then when they call the church, we'll get back to you. I'll have pastor call you. Can you come in and fill out these forms? We don't seen it year after Lady Bell, we don't seen it year after year, time after time, death after death. Sir, husband, father, you have to make sure your family is covered. You got to make sure your wife and children are taken care of. Lady Bell, why was he going to leave town this week? 2 or 3 people this week, friends have died in Cleveland. Like I told y'all, we got a lot of friends over 70 years old. But all my friends and acquaintances, they're all under 60. They're all under 60 kicking the bricks. They're all under 60 having strokes. They're all under 60 having heart attacks. At 55, and somebody was just telling me the other day, Lionel was just telling me the other day, one of his friends, 47, had a heart attack. Hey, listen, young man, stress will kill you. Stress will take you out.
Tell me about it.
Lady Bell had all this stuff. When I get stuck on something, it need to be said, even if one person gets it. They say, people say, we want to save the world. No, you want to help one person and save his world. You want to help one family and change their world. You ain't trying. You don't need to change 1,000. You ain't need to change the whole world. But if I can get through that young man and change his world, Pastor Lewis Greenup Jr. changed my world.
Yeah.
Hey, that was the only dude in the pulpit. I told you, he said, do you have a life insurance policy for your family? Do you? He the one who said that. Deacon Robert Bell, make sure you have a life insurance policy. He said, know what's important about a life insurance policy? And he said this with a smile, Vicky. He said, know what a life insurance policy is to me? It's you're yelling from the grave, honey, I love you. Honey, I got you. Honey, I ain't leave you broke. Honey, I ain't leave you in a situation. He said, life insurance is yelling from the grave, I love you. Yeah, we was having a good time here, doing this and doing that. All that is just memories. When you lose somebody, the bills are going to keep on coming
every 30 days.
Hey, every service that we prepare, when you go to the funeral director, to the funeral home, where you're preparing your services, after they sit down and tell you we're sorry for your loss, and after you go through all the decision makings on the cost, then they say, well, thank you, but how are you planning on paying for this? After they're done talking, they want to know how you going to pay for it. At the end of the day, I can't say this to that part. I wish somebody would have told me that, because I was well aware of insurance policy, but our life experience and seeing it time after time where we don't see wives, we don't see families lose their husband and then lose their home and then lose everything else and have to move. I'm talking about in a matter of months. So-and-so gone already. We got to move. We got to get up out of here because, we can't afford the mortgage. We got to get up out of here because we can't afford the rent. That $10,000, what you call it on a job, the $10,000 job,
term
like you
life
said,
insurance,
that little policy,
insurance.
you at work, that little policy, your job got you, it's gonna bury you.
Yeah, it'll bury you. But also, have a little policy on your kids too, because we've seen, a few people have lost their children. And the last thing you want to do, first of all, it's like the worst thing that could possibly ever happen is that you're losing a child because you always expect your child to bury you. But if you lose a child and then you don't have insurance to bury the child, so you're devastated, you can't really grieve because now you're trying to figure out how you're going to bury your child. So it's a conversation worth having. It's something to think about. It's
that one commercial where the guy, when the guy's talking about the wife is talking to the husband about, John passed. Oh, John passed. When then he said, oh, honey, I guess we got to have that conversation. She said, yes, we're going to have that conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. What conversation that? In life insurance. Life insurance.
And it's really easy now because it's right in the palm of your hand.
Right.
It's so easy
It's
now.
so easy now, Lady Bell. And like I said, the life insurance.
But that's for term. You can go with term. You can go a whole life. But even if you just in the palm of your hand and make an appointment to talk to somebody, but we just get some life insurance.
Like I say, if you just make the phone call, Lady Bell, that just I stayed on this a little longer than I wanted to, but I'm just thinking about what have just happened this past week. I'm thinking about what have just happened this year. Like we've been saying, fearfully and wonderfully made, but this thing called life is very, very fragile, and you get from 0 to 60 real fast.
Yep.
0 to 60 real fast.
Yep.
Marriage boot camp here with the bells. Lady Bell, I wish somebody would have told me that.
Yep.
What do you wish somebody would, before you got married, what do you wish somebody would have told you after you got into the depth of this thing, after you got into knee deep of this thing, after the honeymoon, after the wedding, after the honeymoon, after being swept off your feet, and now you at home looking at each other, what do you wish somebody would have told you?
I wish somebody would have told me years ago that as you're married and as you age, things change. You change. You change, me change. There's a shift, there's a change. And I never really gave it some thought. All you hear about, you don't hear about that at all. I wish somebody would have, maybe say, as you all get older, things are going to change. And I don't mean sex or anything like that. I mean, just in general.
Well, that changes too. I know you saw my notes. My whole notes this week was going to be on sex. But, I was going to talk about sex this week, the 10 benefits of a orgasm. The 10 benefits of orgasm. That was going to be my message this week. 10 benefits of the orgasm. Make it light, make it fun and this and that. But then with everything that was going on,
oh my goodness.
I was like, sex is elementary. That's elementary. People, how to have sex, but let's talk about life insurance. Sex, but Lady Bell, but that changes too. Sex changes too. You don't got older, I don't got older. I used to like it at night. Now I like it in the morning. So things with sex changes too. But I said have something to say. I wish I would have known that. And you said things change. I wrote down he or she. This is what I wrote down. You talking about changes? He or she might not change.
That's what you wrote.
He or she might not change. Let me put my glasses on. He or she might not change. This was more personal to me, this part. He or she might not change or grow out of that. Because sometimes you see a red flag, everybody got red flag, but I can handle that. Your red flags, I can handle. My red flags, you can handle. You're graced for that. But then sometimes you say, I can handle that red flag, but hopefully he'll grow out of that. Hopefully she'll change. You might not change. He might be allowed 28 years later. Hey, remember when little Rob said, hey, true story, when I turned 60, my son called me and said, what you want for your birthday, Dad? I was like, oh, I'm cool. I don't want nothing. Just keep on loving me. Keep on praying for me. I'm cool. I don't need nothing. He was like, no, what you want? I don't want nothing. I said, what, you want to get me something? What you want to get me? This is what my son told me. I just want you to grow up. Can you grow up? I said, oh, that's what you want, son? Ain't going to happen. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to. Is that the Toys R Us kid? Yeah. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I'm going to be as young at heart and young as long as possible.
You know, you talk about you being loud, but I can remember one particular time I couldn't wait to hear your voice. Robert and I, years ago back home in Cleveland, we used to go to this gym and we started running half marathons. And Rob and there was Rob and a few other people, they were a lot faster, so they would finish and wait at the finish line. So I knew as soon as I heard his voice, I was almost there. I could hear him, come on. And I would listen for that voice. It would be me and two other ladies.
You, Renee.
Renee didn't run with us.
Renee didn't run with you?
The school teacher.
Okay, I can't remember.
Valerie flew in, and
I can't remember the school teacher's name.
And we knew, like, we would stay together, and we was like, where's Rob's voice? And sometimes we would be on the incline, sometimes we would be, straight, but we knew, like, okay, mile 10, mile 11, mile 12. We don't hear his voice. Oh my God, we're not almost there, with those mile markers. So there were times when I would be like, oh Lord, thank God, there go his voice. I can hear him.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I know summertime I look at you be like, can you tone it down a little bit?
Yeah, but I needed that. That was that motivation. So, it ain't always been a crazy thing.
But I wish somebody would have told me that, hey, some things might not change and some things might change. Mm-hmm. Lady Bell, I wish somebody would have told me this. This is, did you got that scripture out, that Genesis 6:6? I wish somebody would have told me this. We don't heard it in the songs, Lady Bell. It was a movie named after it. And, I think it just became a cliche that we really didn't look into it. But I wish somebody would have told me how true it is. There's a thin line. It's a thin line between love and hate, Lady Bell. It is a thin line between love and hate. I know you love me to death, but it's a thin line. I know you love me to death, but sometimes I yell it. It's a thin line. Lady Bell, we don't heard it as a cliche. We sang it with. It's a thin line. I don't know who made the song, but it's a thin line. The movie Martin playing it. It's a thin line between love and hate. Mm-hmm. And what should she say? The girl, she was like, I was cool. You kept pursuing me. Now I love you, but it's a thin line because I get angry real fast. It's a thin line between love and hate. People say, how can it be a thin line between love and hate? You married and this and that. Hey, for my Bible readers and my Bible for believers. I had that dental work this week too, Lady Bell. So I did that dental work. It's a thin line between love and hate. My Bible readers and my Bible believers. Mm-hmm. No, Kenny, he made male and female. In the beginning, he was happy that he made us. And that was in chapter 2 or 3. Then already in chapter 6. Mm-hmm. Already 3 years. Only been married 3 years. It's a thin line. Been married 4 years. It's a thin line between love and hate. What did God say for my Bible believers and my Bible readers? What did God say in Genesis 6:6? It's a thin line between love and hate, Lady Bell. Come on.
All right, I'm going to go in the New King James Version because you've always been a New King James man. And the Lord was sorry that he had made...
And the Lord was what?
Sorry.
The Lord was sorry that he did what?
That he made man on earth.
He was sorry. It's a
and
thin,
it grieved him.
And it's a thin line.
His heart.
He rejoiced. When after he made man, he rested. Mm-hmm. He rested. He took him from the dirt of the ground, blew life into him. Yep. He blew life into him. Mm-hmm. And then here we are, 3-4 chapters later. I'm sorry that I married her. It's another version that said what he said about regret. What did he say? What did God say about? What version is that? What Bible version is that?
Well, I read King James version, but
I think it's like the second to the bottom one.
Okay, American Standard Version
Nope.
says,
Not American Standard. Go ahead. But what do American Standard say?
"And it repented Jehovah that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart." The Berean Study Bible, and
That's the one. There you go.
"And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved and in his heart."
And God so loved the world, and
Daddy.
God so loved the world. But here he said, what did it say? He regretted.
He
It's a
regretted.
thin line between love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
My Bible believers and my Bible readers, if the very universe that made us regretted, he so loved the world. He so loved the world that he gave his only. But he regretted that he made us too.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have told me that. I love her to death. I know she loves me to death. Oh my God, why am I feeling this way? Why? Hey, you don't remember that thing we was doing a few weeks ago? We said marital missing truth. We don't say the D word. We don't say divorce. It's a thin line between love and hate.
Yeah,
you don't say the D word, but oh my God, I know I love her, but why am I feeling this way?
Feeling some type of
Why
way.
am I feeling some? Because it's a thin line between love and hate. Because the Bible says, keep your heart with all diligence, because out of it comes the issues of life. That's why you got to constantly purge. We got to constantly have a conversation. Because because it's a thin line between love and hate. So how do I keep that wall stronger? How do we make that wall stronger? How do we keep that wall from deteriorating? We got to have a conversation. How do you feel? Where is your heart at? Where is your head at? Where is your love at? Where is your understanding at? Where are we at? Are you loving me at this moment, or are you hating me at this moment? And if your hate is getting stronger than your love, what do I need to do? What do you need to do? What do we need to do? Not about I'm right, about what's right.
You know, I think that's good, because I think people have been led to believe that they don't have you don't have those feelings, that those feelings don't come up. You know what I mean? Like you're a bad person if you feel that way about your spouse.
After 28 years, girl, I know you don't felt the whole lot of ways about me. But like I said a few weeks ago, I think at that point, part of our success story is that thin line between love and hate, we wasn't both on that hate side at the same time, or like I say, or you fought for me at times, I fought for you at times, and we fought together at times. You can't get to that point where you both don't want to get to that point where you both want to give up at the same time, because it's a thin line between love and hate. I wish somebody would have told me that, Lady Bell. Recall and review. I wish somebody would have told me that. I want to clarify this a little bit more for those who are engaged or planning on getting married. I know in this generation you're writing down your own vows. You're making up your own vows. But sit down and go over the traditional vows. Yeah. Sit down with each other and just go over them. Why are we getting married? Hey girl, why are we getting married? Because for better or for worse, we getting married for that? What do you think about? I wish somebody would have told me that. Sit down with her and talk about, hey, Vicky, we getting married in 3 months. I know we making up on our vows, but the traditional vows said for better or for worse. What do you think for better or for worse mean?
What does that look like?
What do you think richer or poorer is?
Especially if you're going 50-50.
My money is good right now. Hey, you never know. We was married. We got married February. The true story. We got married February 28th, 1997. February 8th, 1997. I had been on my job 15 years at the time. 15 years. We get married February 97. I had, me and my 2 kids, her and her 2 kids. She had a little small car. I had a
Deuce and a quarter.
I had a 98 then. I had the 98. So it was okay, we need a family car. So Vicky wanted to get back then it was the Caravan. I'm like, no, I'm not getting no Caravan. So I'm like, we gonna get that Expedition.
Ford Expedition.
So I was like,
Eddie
no,
Bauer.
because I'm like, no, we gonna get a family car. It's gonna be a Expedition. So we get the Expedition. I ain't riding. I'm not riding around. I wish I would have got that Caravan now. But we go out and buy this Expedition in May of 90. No, wait,
Navy
May.
blue.
No, I'm sorry, no.
Interior.
So okay, so we get married February 97. When we get married, I had a house. She had a house. We lived in her house. When we got married, we moved to her house, and then we bought a house in December of 97. I'm sorry, December of 97. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. October of 97. We moved in 2 weeks before Christmas of 97.
Right. Because my dad died that November. So I remember showing him the house. That's why I was like,
April of 97, we bought April of 98, we bought the Expedition. Because summer was coming. It was like, we need a bigger car, this and that. We need a bigger car because me, you, the 4 kids, your grandmama hung out with us all the time. So we needed something bigger. So April of 97, we buy the Ford Expedition. Mm-hmm. Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, it was Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, Memorial Day weekend. You figure April, May of 98. Now we bought the house in November 97. Bought the Expedition in April of 98. Holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Go back that Tuesday after 15 years of being on my job, going that Tuesday, they stop everybody at the door and say, everybody go that way. If your name is on the board, you got a job. If your name ain't on the board, you ain't got no job. I ain't even made my first car note on that Expedition.
Car payment, yeah.
Made the first car payment and lost the job. Mm-hmm. So, see, that's why I say you got to sit down and say, how do this look? Hey, can you imagine? Just bought a house, just bought a car, and then I'm thinking about, man, I got to go home and tell this woman I done lost my job after she told me, I think we need to get the Caravan. Girl, I'm not getting no Caravan. What was that? The Caravan was like, right? The Caravan was like 15,000. That Expedition was like 40,000 or something like that.
Yep.
She's like, no, girl, I'm not getting no Caravan. I'm getting an Expedition. And I'm like, I got to go home and tell this girl I done lost my job. I done lost my job after 15 years. I know she thinking about what. Hold on, you just telling me. This is what I'm thinking. You just telling me you went to work and they just had a list of names and your name wasn't on there. And I think I told you because the company I was working for, we had a union, and if you had 10 years, they told you your job was guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Oh, you get 10 years, you vested. You will never lose your job. If you got to go over there, if you got to pick up paper in the parking lot 8 hours a day, you're guaranteed a job.
Hold up. Fast forward. What are these government employees going home telling their wives and husbands?
Well, that's all over the news now. So. Mm-hmm. So what do we say? That's why you need to sit down and talk. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love my baby mama. I'll never let her go. We get all caught up in love and this and that, which is great. Mm-hmm. Love is great. But you also got to sit down and talk how we get caught up. We get caught up in our feelings and our emotions and planning the wedding. And we don't plan the marriage, and then now here's a thin line between love and hate. Now I regret that I even married you.
But let's go back because we're as we talk about, I wish somebody would have told me. I want to finish the story about how we did make it through that.
Oh yeah, So I mean, I'm like, man, what am I going to tell this woman? So I went home and like, oh girl, when you got home from work, I was already there. And it was like, I was like, well, I went in today and they told us that if your name ain't on the board, everybody lost their job. And then, and you was like, oh, well, then we just figured, you just collect your unemployment until you get until you find something else. But then remember, then they turned around and called and say, well, we're not gonna, everybody can come in and work for a month. We're not just gonna cut y'all off like that. Then they called us back, and then we went back to work and worked for a month. But then after 2 weeks, because wasn't nobody doing nothing, the guys that wasn't gonna have no job, they was like, oh, just go home. We're gonna pay y'all for the rest of the time.
Yeah, but see, the thing with Robert and I, we just always lived off of one income. So it hit us, but it didn't hit us hard.
It hit us, but it didn't hit us hard because, like I say, when we got married, we sat down, we went over our budget, even though the expedition wasn't in the budget. We went over our budget, but we have always, our lifestyle has always been trying to live off of
one income.
Basing everything on one income. And then that, and sometimes. And don't get me wrong, don't be wise. I was forced into entrepreneurship, because I had rental property, and Vicky was like, you got rental property, go buy some more, and that's what I started doing. I started buying more property and fixing them up. So it's like that was an opportunity that could catapult me into a different direction of life. Like we said, sometimes you got to make lemonade out of lemons. That's how they say that.
Yeah.
But see, if somebody would have sat down and, if somebody would have sit down and go over the vow, but I don't know how you handled that so well, but she handled that well, and because some people, cause we don't seen it, like we talking about, we don't seen it where one of the couples where a spouse will lose the job and somebody will lose their mind.
Yeah, but we, what if one of us lose our jobs? Because we had seen where people were being laid off and they were getting those golden parachutes, and we had saw how all that was going away. So, it was a conversation that we had. So when it happened, it could have been you, it could have been me, and at times it was me, know? So it was just, that's how we did it.
Right. In this journey of marriage, I don't lost a job. You don't lost a couple of jobs. But like I said, if you base your cost of living, always live before your means. Don't max.
Live below your means.
Below your means. Don't max your finances out.
Especially like right now. Really, we have never seen anything like this.
Don't max your finances out, because it's getting crazy, and it's going to get crazier. It's getting crazy. It's going to get crazier. The price of we talking about eggs. The price of everything is going up. Not only the price of everything going up, what do they call it? Shrinkage. Come on, I had that dental work there. Help me with that. My
shrinkage.
My S words. Shrinkage.
Yes.
Where you go into the store. You not only the price going up, but they're putting less in the stuff.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Go there and pick up a bag of potato chips. I was in the store the other day. I picked a bag of those blue chips. It wasn't nothing but air. I put them things right back down.
Oh, you should have bought them all.
Vicky, it was nothing but air. I put them things right back down. So it's not just. We went to eat the other day. We went to go eat the other day. Even the shrinkage, even the sandwich was smaller.
Look at my bowl of soup.
Your bowl of soup, that was ridiculous for a bowl of soup. It was almost like a cup.
It was.
They're bumping up their price, and they're giving you less. Mm-hmm. You got to start counting your dollars. Lady Bell, I wish somebody would have told me that. Lady Bell, like I said, we got to be focused. I got to go here before I forget.
Okay.
Because with so much going on, and like I told you, ain't nobody going to have a good time like me. Mm-hmm. You hear me? I'm loud. I'm this, and this. I'm talking about this, and that. And I don't take my words lightly. I don't take my words lightly. Mm-hmm. You might hear my voice crack because I take my words serious. Mm-hmm. I take whatever I put out there serious. Now, if you see me out dancing and having a good time, I'm going to be loud, but I'm going to be having a good time. Always have a good time, but always make sure home is in order. Mm-hmm. When I say home is in order, as best as possible.
Yeah.
Before you go out and have a good time, I know. And if I go to work every day and work hard, I'm going to enjoy some of my money. It's fine to enjoy some of your money, but make sure your bills is paid. Remember back in the day, Lady Bell, when you was back in the day, because you managed your money back in the day, and you know. One time when the business thing got real tight with the business, got real tight. And I said, don't pay. I was like, I want to make sure payroll is paid.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, you know, I want to make sure everything with the bill, I want to make sure everything in the business was covered before home. You know, last thing I wanted one of my employees to say, our check bounced.
Right.
My check bounced. I said, make sure before you pay anything at home, make sure payroll is made, make sure all the card, make sure everything with the business is handled. And then we was going over something one time, and you was like, and something need to be done, and you had paid all the utilities. I said, Vicky, you got to the end of the month to do that. You said, no, Rob, they don't give you them 30 days no more. They don't give. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
It ain't no them due dates. This due now. You ain't getting them graces.
No.
You know, in Cleveland, you know, if it's far before 32 degrees, they can't turn your gas off. But as soon as it get 33, they out there cutting people gas off. Yeah, you go all winter long without paying your gas bill. But as soon as that temperature hit 33, they're turning off your gas. You told me they don't give you that grace no more like they used to.
You might get 10 days.
You might get 10 days, but after that 10 days, see,
I don't even think it's 15.
Now they just had to hit a switch. They ain't got to get in your basement. They ain't got to do this. Now they can just hit a switch. They can ride down the street and hit something. You know, out here, I mean, in Cleveland, I don't know if the ones here, but I know in some areas of Cleveland, they even had the automatic shutoffs on the water. They could just drive by, hit the button, and turn your water off.
Okay.
So it ain't like, no, we got it. You know,
that's what my stepfather did.
Oh, he did that for the. Oh, that's all he did was turn off. Oh, okay. I didn't know he did that. So he was the turn off man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that. But hey, so have a good time. But you know what? We so busy. Where those fans at? Everybody's doing that dance. Everybody's doing that dance. That's okay. Where the fans out? Do your one step. Do your two step. Get your boots. Get your hat. Get you a fan. But where those plans at?
Oh, I love
Things about to get crazy, Lady Bell. That podcast we was listening to before we came here.
Oh,
things are about to get serious. While you popping your fan, you better be making some plans. You already got. Hey, we got to renew our plans. We got to sit down and make some new plans because this is happening, that is happening. Who was expecting that?
Right.
Looking at the stock market the other day, pull out them numbers on the stock market, the 401k. Looking at CNBC the other day, they said everything. There's like this company ain't doing that, that company ain't doing that because Nike. Knowing Nike had its greatest upswing in its greatest income, its greatest business.
When?
The end of 2020 and
crazy.
2021. You know why?
Why?
What was them checks they was giving us during the
Stimulus
pandemic?
checks.
Because of them stimulus checks. You remember how the lines was?
Yeah.
You remember in the lines when we would get those stimulus checks, how the Nike store was? We was going to the store. We was going to the gun store with them. We was buying ammunitions and weapons with them. That's the line they was in. But us we was in the Nike line. Nike stocks were at an all-time high in 2021.
Yeah.
Now they have dropped tremendously. Ain't nobody. They're still buying Nikes. They're still lining up. They're still lining up for Nike. But now Nike is at, and they had the CEO on there. He said, we have to see. We're sitting down with China because we don't know how the tariffs is going to affect us.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Everything is coming from China.
Yep.
They told us 40 years ago, y'all buying them $250 Jordan, and it's only making them $10 to make them.
Well, we've seen that up close and personal, the difference in the
Right. They
price.
only cost them $10, $15, $20 to make them, and we dropping like, I got some $200 Jordans on. As if, Lady Bell, what's that show I like with Mark Cuban now?
Oh, Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. What's some of the main questions they ask? They come out, they present what their product and all of that, and then all of that, then they say, how much have you made? I made this amount. Oh, great. in 2 years you made that much. Okay, what does it cost you to make it? Mm-hmm. What does it cost you to make it? Mm-hmm. Okay, what are you selling them for? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's a great margin. Yeah. It costs you $2 to make them and you're selling them for 10. That is a great margin.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they say.
So that's instead of saying I paid $300 for a pair of tennis shoes, mm-hmm. Like when they say, "Oh, they're on sale." No. Oh, I saved $20 because they're on sale. No, I didn't, because they're only worth $10. So don't. But see, we get caught. Hey, when you go to Smith, they hand you a receipt. You saved $12 today.
I know.
No, you didn't. Where those fans at? No, where are your plans at? Mm-hmm. It's getting ready to get crazy out here, Lady Bell.
It is.
After you done praying, after you done reading the word, Lady Bell, I heard this crazy dude in the pulpit said today, don't worry about what's going on. Come to my church. We got a recession-proof. I got a recession-proof anointing. Mumbo jumbo. Dude said he got a recession-proof anointing. Let me say this real quick, Lady Bell, because I know we're running out of time. My business was handling foreclosed properties. Mm-hmm. Cleveland, Chicago, Buffalo, Michigan, Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo, Chicago. That was ground zero for foreclosure. That was ground zero for predatory lending. Mm-hmm. That was ground zero. People were losing their houses in droves. Mm-hmm. My job was to come and knock on your door and tell you got 30 days to get out. Mm-hmm. The dude said he had a recession-proof anointing. Lady Bell, who was out getting? When we started the business, we seen all the saints in the church buying houses, house. Dude, you can't afford that $400,000 house. Because elder so-and-so had a mortgage company and he been manipulating the saints. Oh, God going to bless you with this house. Dude, don't buy that house. You can't afford it. And a year later, knocking on their door. Hey, Brother Bell, yeah, I'm with the mortgage company. You done lost your house. Mm-hmm. I don't care what church you went to in Cleveland. I was putting all them saints out. And pastor said, don't worry about it. Pay your tithes and offering, and God going to let you keep your house. Stop believing that spiritual mumbo jumbo. That pastor in Cleveland, Lady, but remember, him and his kids had a whole cul-de-sac. Mm-hmm. This month, put that daughter out. This month, put the pastor owned, I'm not going to say the pastor's name, but they owned the whole cul-de-sac, and they set up there, and everybody lost their house, but Pastor still had the big old mansion. But hey, remember how nice all them houses was on the lake? He had this big old. But
the house.
What they called it, a compound. He had a whole compound.
But it wasn't just the house was nice. It was all the toys that went in the house that was inside the
my
toys.
God, they had all of the pastor and all his kids had Harleys, all these big houses, and everybody had Harleys. I'm not talking about one Harley. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about all of them had two. All the husbands had Harleys. I'm not talking about $25,000 Harleys. I'm talking about $60,000, $70,000 pimped out Harleys.
And you're talking years ago too. So, yeah.
So when it's all said and done, dude, you must take care of your home. Where them fans at? No. Where are your plans at? Where is your heart at? Where is your mind at? Mm-hmm. In the words of Apostle Louis Greenup, the only dude I really trusted in the pulpit, in the heart of, don't worry about what Trump is doing. Don't worry about what the White House is doing. What are your plans, young man? What are you doing, Mister? What are you doing, Deacon Robert Bell, for you and your family? How you running your home? Team Bell, you know who I am. 1 + 1 will always be
1.
2 is bigger. 2 is after 1, but it's always
1.
1 1,000, but 2
10,000.
Team Bell, you know who I am.
Everybody have a wonderful
week. And you know who I'm with. Team Bell, we
No limit to the limit. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp. No limit to the limit with Robert and Vicki Bell. I thought I told you, no limit to the limit, for better or for worse. No limit to the limit, for richer or poor. No limit to the limit, in sickness and health. I thought I told you, to love and cherish until death do you part. 1 + 1 equals
1.
2 is bigger, but it's
still 1.
1 1,000, but 2
10,000.
Team Bell, Rob and Vicki Bell, Hot 702.5.
We out.